Right, I'm about to start building our new Galah Aviary. We've just got a Galah called Strawberry. She needs a new home, and this is where it's going to be, this dilapidated corner of our deck, which has had a non-working spa pool in it for the last year or two, and got a bit overgrown and out of control. So we've decided to rip it out and build an aviary. So I'm going to pull up this deck, lower it, and the finished aviary will be around 2.4 meters wide by 3.6 meters long to house one Galah cockatoo. It will be approximately 2.4 meters high as well, hopefully. Anyway, better get going. So I've removed the decking, and now I'm just pulling up the substructure, and I'm going to lower the substructure so that there's no step up like there was. A bit of deck steps up there, and it's stepped up just here. But that was really annoying, so I'm lowering it so that it's all flush and level. So the cage will actually be sort of the height of that, lower than the rest of the deck, which is about 200. Yeah. Had to put in a new post as well, because I'm removing the existing one because it's in the way. Slowly but surely coming along. Deck started to go on. The decking is vitex, which is a hardwood. This is the framing for the back wall, which will be covered in an aluminium composite panel all the way along the back and over the roof. And there'll be another wall that comes in about where that bit of 3x2 is lying. There's a little sort of hideaway area so you can get out of the weather. Strawberry's sitting out on the deck today, watching me work. Hey! She's in that tiny little cage at the moment, so that's why I'm trying to get this thing built as quickly as possible. Get her into a nice big one. Although she does, of course, walk around the house, so she's not in the cage all the time. Whenever we're home, she's wandering around. Yeah. There'll be a gutter system along here. Sweep and wash everything from the deck into the gutter, which will run down that pipe and hook in with everything else. So the vitex deck's coming along quite well now. How you doing, Laura? Chickens have enjoyed the balance beams. Christmas Day yesterday, so I didn't get much done. Never allowed to work on aviaries on Christmas Day, seems to be a recurring thing. So I'm going to carry on with some decking, and that'll probably be followed by putting the ACM panels, aluminium composite panels, up on this back wall. The rest will then have a stainless steel construction with galvanised mesh. So the deck is finished, and this is Strawberry checking it out for the first time. It's the floor of your new cage, your new home. What do you reckon? Come on, have a little walk. What you doing? So I'm now putting up the ACM or ACP aluminium composite panels. If you've never used this stuff before, it's very easy to use. You can just cut it with a skill saw. I'm just cutting it with the battery skill saw there. Real easy to cut, and if you want to bend it, as I have done there, all that requires is a cut on the back, which I also did with a skill saw, but you can also do it with a router. You need to do it with a router if you're going to be folding the other way, having an external corner. So yeah, just ran the skill saw up there, making sure not to cut through the front obviously, and it bends a piece of cake by hand. Also put in power, so got power there, and this cable here will be a light on the top which will shine out into the garden eventually. Now the ACM panel can be put up with glue or screws. I was going to glue it, but I kind of want it to be more structural than that, so I've screwed it up with just with stainless countersunk screws like that. It ends up with quite a good look in the end. So as you can see, silver panels underneath the protective plastic. So yeah, that's the screws I'm using. They've got quite a big head, as you can see. And all I do to put them in is do a pilot hole. I don't countersink them. I find they look better if you don't countersink them. And they sort of pull the aluminium in around them. There's a tap there, which will be for water inside the aviary, hosing down the floor mostly. Yeah, so I'll finish putting up the ACM and then you can see what it looks like when it's finished. So the ACM board is up, the deck is all down. Now we get into the metal work. First of all, I've got to put a drain in, which runs basically the full length of the aviary. Deck's got a slight slope on it and it's very tight spaced so that we can hose all the poopies and everything in there. So this channel here is just a bit of galv steel that's being bent up 50 by 50 by 50. Slots in there nicely so it's sort of flush with the top of the deck and water can drop down into that. That's my end piece. That will run along here and connect into a 40mm pipe down there, which will connect into the rest of the stormwater drainage here, which ends up right at the front eventually. So I shall go ahead and do that now. And the stainless framework will then sit in that groove there. I've just got to come up with a way of covering up this. Another bit of galvy probably. And bend it over the top of the existing deck, which will needs a bit of work. Will one day be replaced with vitex, same as the aviary. Right, drainage complete. I think it's now time to reveal the ACM panels by removing the film. So I've got a couple of my stainless frames built now. They're 38mm square polished stainless, only because it just happened to be not that much dearer than the galv at the time. So I was going to use brackets because I'm not very good at welding and I don't actually have anything to weld to stainless brackets. like that. But then I thought of a better method, and so they've actually got pieces of pipe inside and then screwed. I just drilled a hole 35mm into the stainless, threaded a bit of pipe through, screwed it in. To get it square, I made myself up a little jig just to make sure everything was square each time. So I've made up a couple of frames now, and before I go any further I'm going to lay them down, stick the mesh on them and then stand them back up so I don't have to try and put the mesh on while they're up in the air. So I'm using 19mm square, 3/4 inch square, I think it's 1.25mm gauge galvanised steel mesh, 915mm wide. So I'm going to put those on now. The way I am attaching the mesh is with a strip of aluminium over the top so that I don't get any ripples or anything in the mesh. And the screws, I'm doing every 6th hole. And they're just a small stainless self-drilling. And I'm just whacking them in with the impact driver. So I shall carry on. So that's the first panel, complete with mesh. And now it's time to put it up. There, like that. One down, one really big one, one medium sized one, and one small one to go. Wish it was a bit cooler, 27 degrees today, but really warm. So I now have 2 meshed walls up. I've decided to now put all the fastenings on the inside so that it looks nice and sexy on the outside with a nice shiny stainless. So from when we walk out of the house, it's stainless on that side, stainless on the far side, and the big wall left to come will have the fastenings on the inside as well. I got 2 beams up there for the roof. So time to make the last wall. So this is the last large panel to go up. The main wall just here. So I shall put that up now. And there we have it in position. Just one small wall to go. Has to be done in situ. Yeah. And the roof. And then a door and an entrance sort of area, buffer zone. So I've put in a small wall here now, so that Strawberry's got a little private area where she can sleep if you have any bad weather. So all sides are now up. And I'm beginning to put on the roof. This will be solid through that bit. And then mesh, I'm starting to put the mesh up now. Mesh on the other 2 sections there. It's a fairly big space in here now. Hopefully our Galah will like it. So the roof is all on. Mesh all complete. Put a pole in the middle here for support. Now I've got to make the door. I'm going to make the door with the same system I did to try and avoid brackets as much as possible, and welding because I suck at welding. So it's 38mm tube. I've drilled a 35mm hole. I've got 35 outside diameter, well it's about 36 outside diameter pipe, 32 inside. Chamfer the end. UPVC pipe, fits in there fairly tight. I've got to bash it in with a hammer. And then get another one with an outside diameter of 32, which just slides in there tightly. Hammer that in. Once they're in there, slide the next bit of pipe over the other end, and then just whack a couple of screws in the outside, as I've done all the way around the aviary. So I shall do that now. And just slot on nicely, like that. Now whack a couple of screws in, and put it in a jig that I made up. So the jig just helps make sure everything's nice and square before I put the screws in. There's the door, and it took a few minutes to pop together. So the door is now in place. It's now a sealed unit. So this is now the new strawberry patch. Hey Strawbs. Still got a lot of work to be done in that I've got to build another door entrance area there. There'll be a food prep area and an escape barrier. Not that you'll escape, will you, Strawbs? And of course I need to fill it up with plants, perches, food bowls, housing. So still a lot to do, but she can now start walking around in here once I clean up all the mess. She can start getting used to the place. Better than that cage, eh, Straws? So it's all cleaned out. Got a branch temporarily thrown in here. And now I'm going to release Coco for the first time to wander freely in the strawberry patch. Come on. Where are we? Where are we? Oh, you're going to get off my shoulder. Hello. Hello.
Scratch. 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 Scratch.
You have a look around? You talk? Say hello? Come on. What are you doing? What do you reckon, Straubs? I like it when you try to take a nap. So there's no food bowls or food, water, perches. I'm going to build a box thing in here. I haven't finished all the detailing up there to block off all that treated timber. But you can now at least start getting used to it and have a bit of a bigger area to be outside instead of flapping around in the lounge. Hey. Yeah, you do that. Really? What are you doing? What are you doing?